All right. Very good. I have to stop the description. Okay, Nico says nice touch. All right, so hello everybody. I propose that we start. My name is Victor Rouillard. I am a postdoc researcher at UC Louvain Saint-Louis Bruxelles in Brussels, Belgium, and I am a researcher and a co-coordinator of EDMO 2. Welcome to this first lunch lecture of the second edition of EDMO. And before we start the lecture, I thought I would give you a little bit of context and a bit of an introduction so we are all on the same page. So first, what's EDMO? Well, EDMO is the European Digital Media Observatory, which brings together fact checkers, media organizations, media literacy experts, and researchers to understand and analyze disinformation and disinformation trends. And within EDMO, we are EDMO BELUX, the hub that focuses on Belgium and Luxembourg. So a bit about the lunch lectures. The lectures are online meetings that focus on a specific topic that is related to disinformation, but not necessarily directly. It can be about disinformation campaigns, but also fact-checking, media literacy, policy analysis, or any topic that we deem relevant. And the goal is to have those lectures every 2 months. So this lecture will be the first edition of EDMO 2. And the second lecture should be held in September and then in December and then probably in January or February 2025 and so on. This means that if you're here for the first time, this means that you can also propose lectures. If there is a research topic or something that you're working on that you want to present, or if you know someone and you think his or her research expertise work could be interesting to the EDMO BELUX community, you can of course contact us and propose one of these lectures. Okay, so today we have around, I think, 13 people, should be around 15 people soon. This means that you are allowed to ask questions during the lecture, but please use the question and answer toolbar or the conversation toolbar to ask your question. If it's a short or very precise question, I think our guests will be able to answer it right away. If it's a bigger question, maybe they'll wait until the end of their presentation to answer the question. So after the introduction, Tatiana and Martin will speak for about 40 minutes, and then we'll have a final discussion if that's necessary. That brings me to today's lecture. Today, I'm very happy to welcome Tatiana Debrabandere from the CESEM, so the Conseil supérieur de l'éducation aux médias, the Media Education, Media Literacy Council in French-speaking Belgium, as well as Martin Culot from Media Animation, an organization, an ASBL, that also deals with media education, media literacy, amongst other things. And today, they entitled their talk, Understanding the Digital Practices, What Are Young People Doing Online? Results from a quantitative survey, because they will present the results from a survey that has more than 3,000, I think they'll get into the more than 3,000 answers from the project Génération 2024, Generation 2024, which is a quantitative survey on the digital practices of teens, kids, and young adults in French-speaking Belgium. But I think they will be able to best describe what they do, at least describe it in a better way than I do. So Martin, Tatiana, I will leave you the floor. And again, if you don't mind, I will allow myself to jump in if there's like a short question or if there is something that's not understood. But for bigger question, we'll wait until the end of the lecture. But thank you for being here. And if it was in person, everybody would clap. So just imagine people clapping and you can start.
Thank you, Victor. So, hi everyone, welcome on board. I'm really glad to that you all decided to share your lunch with us. Martin and I, we are here to present, as Victor said, we are here to present the survey who's called in French Génération 2024. This survey was produced by the non-profit organization Média Animation and us, the CESEM. It is the result of a federation collaboration who's called Bitternet Projects, and with the financial support from the European Digital Europe program. And it was developed alongside the Flemish initiative who's called Apestartjaren through a partnership with the association Media Waste, Media Haven, I don't know if you know them, and the research group called MICT and of IMEC and the University of Ghent. So a little bit of context. In 2020, the result of the first surveys, Génération 2020, were published, marking the first comprehensive survey on digital practice among children and adolescents in Wallonia-Brussels Federation. And 4 years later, here we are undertaking a new edition. So this second survey aims not only to update collected data, but also to explore new themes related to young people's digital usage. And talking about themes, we developed 6 themes, included news and disinformation, which will be developed by Martin. We had also access to screen activities and digital hobbies, rules at home, digital well-being, which is really new, online social, family, and emotional life. And finally, online violence and safety included cybersecurity, which was also pretty new. So, who was concerned about this survey? So from October to December 2023, over 3,700 primary and secondary school students responded to a questionnaire covering various aspects of their digital life. So statistical data were complemented by individuals' interviews and group discussion, and this report compiles this contribution. So in total, we had 3,742 students from 43 schools located across the 5 provinces of Wallonia and Brussels Federation participating in this survey. There were 17 primary school and 26 secondary school involved in the survey. Maybe let's go into detail. So just maybe speak about also a little bit of the methodology. So just a few words about the fact that the survey does not intend to pass judgment on young people's practice. Instead, it aims also to observe digital habits of children and adolescents. The survey questioned young people practice habits, their relationship with screen, technology, internet, social media, for example, video games, also. And we notice also that the presence of digital technology often fuels fantasies and alarmist discourse. So the survey seeks to provide factual data about their actual usage. So it was collected through an online questionnaire, accessible on both computers, tablets, and teachers were encouraged to dedicate approximately 50 minutes of class time for students to answer all the questions. And students completed the individual questionnaire independently, confidentially, of responses was ensured to also preserve the anonymity of the youth. This was a bit of the methodology, but let's go into the survey. So what was the question asked to these children and teenagers? I will start with the children. So with the advent of digital technology, screens have become a significant part of everyone's daily life, of course, including children and adolescents. But what was the question? For example, what are these devices used by children and teenagers? Do they personally own this device, or how frequently are they used? First question about their screen access. Children declare that television is the most commonly used device. It was also the case for years before, and the phone, gaming console, tablet was also used by more than half of them. We noticed that the tablet was really like they're really appreciated by children. So we have to realize that for children, the digital space is really a playground for them, because more than 80% they play video games, watch movie videos on YouTube, series, show, and we've noticed also that the social dimension of video gaming was important. And for the primary school, for the children, if we have to think about something really important, is the fact that the family sphere is really important, and it will move on into the friendship sphere, I guess, for the teenager. So we can see also with this slide about the favorite application for these children. We can see that YouTube is one of the favorite application, followed by Netflix, Disney Plus, and I was talking about video gaming. We can see that Minecraft, Mario games, Roblox, Pokemon are really appreciated. A question also that we received a lot, it's when do young people get their own smartphone? We observed that the acquisition of the first personal phone corresponds for some students with their entry into secondary school. A majority responded indicated receiving the first phone at the median age of 11. However, nearly 47 of the fifth grade students and 59 of the sixth grade already reporting owning their own phone. So the majority do not have access to all the features offered by the smartphone, because only 38% of the fifth and the sixth grade student using the phone have access to 4G. We can see also on the slide. Let's move on the secondary school, like regarding the devices favored by teenager. The results indicate that the smartphone and television are the most popular screen used by 90% of them. Computer, gaming console follow closely, and around 70% teenager using them, while the tablet is less widespread compared to children, used by 46% of them. And of course, if we think about secondary school, we think about social media. We can see this slide that I really hate because it's really stereotype, but it is what it is. It's come from the survey, and you can directly understand that the pink one is for the girls and the blue one is for the boys, of course. We will talk also about the gender. Of course, it's a bit sad, and maybe it's a thing that we do not have to do anymore. It's we took the gender, just boys and girls, and we didn't take any other gender in count. So social media, the use of this platform increased over the year of secondary school. More than 9 out of 10 teenagers log into a social network at least once a week. The ranking of the most popular social network shows that Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube lead among secondary students used weekly by over 70% of them. And the photo sharing app, Be Real, which is really new, also enjoys some popularity with 39% of young people. However, the platform Facebook is largely abandoned by teens. Of course, it is considered by many as the social network for old people. Gender differences can be also observed regarding the use of social network. For example, as I said, Be Real app is used daily by 23% of boys compared to 47% of girls. And this female trend is reversed when it comes to YouTube. And for X Twitter, as the platform Discord or Twitch associated with gaming, the trend is also leans towards boy. About 26% of boys use this social network weekly compared only 7% of girls. So detailing the activity carried out of this social network, it is observed that the minority of secondary school students regularly post photos or videos on this platform, despite frequent discussion about high self-exposure online during adolescence. This practice is actually regular for only 1/5 of young people. So moreover, 36% of teens report never posting photos on social media, while 50% say they never post video. Gender difference are also noteworthy. Girls are twice as likely as boys to post photos or video online every week. So we can say that they really prefer to like photos, watch small video story, comment, or just like content. And I wanted to have a word about the AI because it's the first time, of course, we talk about AI in the survey. So teenagers starting the entry of secondary school. Um, they were asked also about their usage of such a technology, and 57 affirmed that they have already used an application or a website of artificial intelligence that creates its own content. Among these applications, chatbot, for example, on this graph, My AI who is available on Snapchat, and ChatGPT, of course, platforms stand out prominently as the most popular. So when we ask about the reason that prompt them to use such a platform, they they say that it's the desire to get answer to the question, discover capabilities of these artificial intelligence, or benefit from assistance with their homework. We just have to realize that AI wasn't. We didn't speak about AI at all in like a year ago, 2 years ago, and now almost half of them use it. I didn't know how to call the slide uh, for maybe have a resume about what I say, but maybe it would be just more for the teenager. But while social media is mainly used by teenagers starting from their entry to secondary school, YouTube and TikTok. So YouTube, it is 81%. TikTok is 27% of children aged 6 to 10. So this observation calls for much earlier awareness of the issue and mechanism, the code of online interaction, as well the risk they are exposed. And one of the practice that often remains in its shadow is video gaming. The new survey allows for deeper understanding for young people video games usage, something that the first edition of the survey did not address. So it was often misunderstood, frequently demonized, considered to have a little value. So video games ranks among the primary digital activity for young people. And for over half of those surveyed, gaming is also fully social activity. So regarding teenager age to 14 to 18, digital activities extend far beyond leisure activity. So they use screen confidently, autonomously, with less imposed rules, engaging in activities such as staying informed about current events, shopping online, supported causes on social media, so the activist part, and completing homework on computers. So, however, this autonomy isn't without consequences because many report the difficulties in controlling their time screen, and you can find more information in French, of course, in the survey, because we have a chapter about the well-being. Additionally, the emotional challenges of adolescents manifest their digital habits evidence by figures on online flirting, dating, sexting, emerging dynamics of jealousy also, and control within young couples. So by its very nature private and intimate, emotional life and romantic life online, nonetheless should be also integrated into educational dynamics through innovative approach and tools. And I will maybe finish with this and let Martin really have a focus on this information. But on in the survey, we can find also recommendation. We did few recommendation in terms of media literacy. And we can have some, for example, having just a dialogue between young youth and adults about maybe defining responsible usage. And one of the most important sentence, maybe if I have to resume the survey, is really the fact that we have to accept teenagers' real life practice in order to make educational tools, recommendation, and maybe also have a self-reflection of our own practice as an adult, because we can see that in the secondary school, they don't have that much difference from adult practice, and we do not have to stigmatize as the specific species, young people, but maybe have a self-reflection of our own practice and our role. I'm not a media educator, but I work in media literacy, is promoting also an atmosphere of trust and empathy where adults or parents, teacher, educator can have really a meaningful conversation with children and youth. And they report actually in the survey that they don't feel heard about their media practice. They just have rules and they don't talk that much about their practice. So, and for children, maybe creating creative educational dynamics in media literacy, because we can see that they are confronted to social media at a really young age. So why not start media literacy really early? And for children also, rules can be the subject of a consultation, because we can see that they are not against the rules. It's kind of positive, even for teenager and children. So it can be also a subject of consultation. And so we have really to seizing opportunity to involve children from a young age. As if I can finish this resume, but it was really quick. So I let Martin to have a focus maybe on disinformation, fake news, and about young people.
Thank you, Tatiana, for those key elements. So, as it was announced, there are some different chapters in the survey where you can find some elements on other elements. So, for this presentation, I will go on about disinformation, fake news, and the way that the young people get information, because I think it's really important to have those information to understand well how the question of disinformation and fake news is for the young people. So for this chapter, maybe just a key element about the image of a different figure that I will show you. You have two kind of figure. The first one is the image who concern the teenager and the preteens from primary 5 to secondary 7, and another kind of figure who only concern the secondary 1 to secondary 7, if you have some question about the difference between the primary and secondary, just be clear on that. I also want to mention, because I think it's really important, that this survey here is about it's about declarative and testimonies more than competence or skills based. I think it's really important to say it when we speak about the information, the capacity of students to fact check some fake news, etc. Here we are only on declarative element and not on the skills and the competencies based survey. I know that existing some methodology about testing and evaluating the media literacy level of the students. I think it's really important and very complementary to our work, but here we are only on the declarative. It's important because you will see that when we will have some question about, okay, are you critical about information? Do you have some reflex of fact checking? Yes, yes, of course I do, etc. So we have to keep that in mind and be very clear on the fact that the competencies test will be maybe better to have a finished view about the real capacity of the students, for instance, to fact check some elements. By the way, the precaution is taken. I suggest you to pass to the next slide. As it was said by Tatiana, in fact, when we ask to the students, okay, what's your social network, favorite social network to get information, to get news, in fact, we will find the same social network that they use as students. Here you have the favorite social network to get information for the secondary, so the first secondary to the seventh secondary. You have so Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, and X. But there are, of course, some disparity. For instance, when you ask to the younger secondary, 1, 2, or 3 secondary, they must use TikTok because they are more on TikTok. And in the last year of the secondary school, they are less on TikTok. So they will, of course, get less information on TikTok. But I think it's interesting to say, okay, there is a kind of equality between Instagram and TikTok, and of course, YouTube, Snapchat is less viewed as a social network to get information, of course, but I think what is important here is to say, okay, in fact, the young people will get information where they are. They are not really in a posture, or they say, okay, I will get information where I can get information, very reality information. No, in fact, young people had their social network, they open it and they scroll, they swap and see what it's happening. And that's the same for the news. They are watching the news who are coming to them. I will show you that after. And of course, for the next slide, it's confirmed, of course, that we, Tatiana, if you can just put the, yeah. It's confirmed that we are really living in a video society, or a video media society, because when we ask to the students, okay, what's your favorite format of information?
You don't see the slide moving?
No, me
Okay.
not. I don't
Okay.
know.
So right here, I'm still on the slide, which social network? Oh, and
Yeah.
now I see my face. Maybe you can try to start over.
Yeah,
So
I will start again.
So it's not
still
doing
which
that.
social networks?
In fact, so it will not a big surprise about what is coming. It's more than 70% of the students who very enjoy the video format to get information. So that's, of course, the video, the shorts, the reels, and other elements of the video, who are the preferred format of the young people. I don't know if a survey is necessary about it, but that's objective.
It's striking. It's striking when you put it visually like that. But
Yeah.
yes, as you say, I think it's quite clear. Thank you,
Yeah.
Tatiana.
Thank you, Tatiana. So we have a really good, of course, yeah, the priority for the young is to have access to the format video for different elements. But It's interesting also to see that for the most of the person on the social network, they access to information because the algorithm gave it to him or her. On the next slide, you can see the question, okay, if you get an information, it was because the information came to me, or it's because I looked for it. In the most of the case, that's because the information came to it. It's refer that I spoke to you just before, that the young people is not really about, okay, I will get information. It's more about, okay, I opened my social networks, I see some elements coming, and I scroll, I swap, and less information are found because they look specially at for. That's a very general and very key element to understand, I think, the digital environment that we are living, and not only for the young people. I think it's only for the next generation. It's because you can see social network and the information has a Netflix or a video on demand. You can get access to information that you want to get to, and not the information that you are not interested for, or you are not interested of some media that give you only a limited element of news you can see on social network and choose what do you want. A few years ago, I asked to students, okay, how you get information, and he told me something very interesting. He told me TikTok is like a very short trailer on information. It's kind of very short key element of information. If I get interest, I will go further. And I will go further by looking documentary on YouTube, on looking some other elements. But you can see TikTok has a kind of Netflix of a trailer of very short elements. And if you are get interested too, you will go further about it. So I think it's a really good start point to understand the way that the young people who are growing up and only know this logic, this digital logic of I choose the subject that I am interested is very important on it. But by saying that, we only spoke about the news environment or the digital environment. We are not already on a very specific case of fake news or disinformation question. It's why on the part just after, we had a very focus on the different perception of the young people about fake news. And in fact, it's really interesting because one of the questions that we asked to the students was, okay, but which source of information are most likely to spread fake news? Where fake news can spread more easily? Their answer was very clear. It's about video and social media posts. That's very precisely what they use the most, their favorite format in a certain way. And in fact, it's a kind of paradox that I will explain also a little bit later by saying that the favorite format and way to inform, to get information by the young people is also maybe the more tricky or the more risky, because they know that it's possibly fake news or other problem. So, as media literacy educator, we are aimed to say, okay, but if it's the case, please get your information at the real media, the professional media, etc. But the problem for the young people is that they are not attracted by the format. In fact, they don't like the format of journaux télévisés or a TV show, and say, okay, no, we want to have digital formats, but we know that maybe it's fake, you know? So it's a kind of very balanced and very tricky situation. So they know that there are possibly some fake news on the social network. They also know there are some fake news or rumors in the conversation. So the only talking with other, but of course less. So you have here also a testimony about fifth secondary. Most of the time when I see news from a major newspaper, something we know it, I tell myself that is true. It's true, even if sometimes it seems false. Either way, I can verify it. That's also a problem or an issue about the young people that they cannot or they don't really see what kind of tools they can use for fact check the information. So on the next slide about the fact checking, and it's also only about declarative, so please be careful about this figure. When I find new information online, I check it if it's true and reliable by checking. And here you have the criteria said by the students and the pupils. So I don't know if the students just repeat what they learn in classroom, if by miracle they had some media literacy class. I hope they do, of course. But I don't know if it's just a social bias of replicating. Okay, we have good learning about media literacy. We can just repeat. I'm very careful about who published the information, about the publication date, about the image, etc. Maybe here competencies or skills test may be better than just testimonials, but okay, we had some key elements about it. So in the next slide, you have also still this paradox of okay, I take my information on social media, but maybe it's not the really good place to have information on it. Social media networks are reliable source of information. It's more or less 50-50 who agree, who not agree. So there is a tricky point. We can trust the information people share on social media. Here you have 55% who say just no. So for the next key element about fake news, I would like to have a very concrete example to show you and to give you some key element for the media literacy educators that I am. It was in a secondary school in second year of secondary, and I was in a classroom and said, okay, we are talking a lot about fake news. Please, do you have a concrete example of fake news that you have seen, that you have heard? And someone, pupils from this secondary schools, told me these sentences. In April on TikTok, they say that in the United States, there was something spread everywhere, a rape day where men are allowed to rape. They didn't talk about it on TV. They are talking on TikTok, Instagram. My parents, when I told them about it, they said it was stupid and it was fake. Afterwards, we talk it about among ourselves, between the students, the pupils, and there are some who believe it. There are those who don't. I still stayed at home. You never know. For me, everyone about this question of fake news and the media literacy reflections are on this example. The first element on the first slide is also a fake component. When we say, okay, a rape day, it's more about American Nightmare, La Purge, for them who saw this movie. It's more about it, but it's a fake component. On the next slide, there is the idea, there is a gap between the traditional media and the new media, digital media, where the students get their information. They didn't talk about it on TV, they talk it on TikTok, Instagram. So it's a kind of proof that there are a kind of gap between the traditional media and the digital media. On the next slide, you have the fact-checking attempt where the students went to this parent and say, okay, I have read those information. It's very positive that there is this reflection of fact-checking. And their parents say, no, okay, it was fake. But on the next slide, there is also a social dimension, because fake news is not only just fake and true, but it's also the fact that people speak about it, speak with them about rumors, about, of course, the element of that. Some people believe it, some people don't believe it, etc. So there is an interaction between those elements. And the next element on it, on the next slide, is about the real effect. Fake news is not only a story, very imaginary, etc. No, there are some effects, very concrete and problematic, in fact, of course, in this case. So for me, it's why it's really important and very crucial to have this kind of reflex to ask to the young people, okay, what are the fake news for you? Because you can work on different levels. You can work on the level of the fake news. You can work on the cultural media environment. And in fact, teachers ask, that's the first element that teachers ask me in training. Please tell us about the digital culture of the young people. Please tell us about the format, the key element that they enjoy, etc. Of course, on the point 3, we can work on the fact-checking and the way to fact-check the element. The element of the social dimension is for me very also important to understand the phenomena, and of course the question of the effect. So it was the idea to show you, okay, when we ask to the young people what is a fake news, you can have some different elements, some different insights that I think very, very crucial for our work and our task of media literacy educator. So on the next slide, but nothing new, just to give you the key elements. It's a really paradox. Young people distrust of social network, but very use it, or they are very careful on it. They trust the official media and the professional media, but don't like the format of those media. So it's quite paradoxal, because they say that the format is unattractive. And my last point is more about the media literacy, and for me, a very, very important element on the struggle against disinformation, by saying that we have absolutely, as media educators or teachers, to continue to understand the practice and the way of the young people use media, because it's evolving so fast that we have to keep an update on it to see what is the format. Today, it's TikTok or Instagram in a very short video. Well, in the following years, a new format will arrive, a new social media will arrive, and everything will be continued. So we have to still be updated about the new format of disinformation, the new example of disinformation, the new way that disinformation will be the new format on it, and of course keep an eye on the different thematics of the disinformation. It's not only about just the format, just only the media, the social media, etc., but also see, okay, what are the agenda of disinformation? The agenda of disinformation, transphobia, climatic deny, and keep an eye on it and say, okay, what are the subject and the topics about disinformation who are still coming. So it was my part. Maybe we can have some question. And just on the next slide, you have the sources that we use for this for this presentation. So Génération 2024, les jeunes et les pratiques numériques disponibles, mais aussi j'ai pris un petit peu de la Génération 2020, les jeunes et l'info sur la partie, sur l'exemple, for the example on the fake news, just to give it. So if you have some question or some precision, Tatiana and I, we are available for it.
Well, thank you, guys. Let's see if any questions come up. Let's give people a few seconds. I will not upload because that's awkward, but I saw that there is this new thing that we can do on Teams. Let's see if it works. No, it doesn't. Okay, there should be stars coming up. My fingers. Okay, it doesn't work. Never mind. Anyway, consider this my applause. If there are any questions, please write them in the chat. If not, I have a few questions, but usually we really try to keep those lectures under an hour so people come back. So what I propose, if you guys agree, I will shoot a few questions at you and you just answer whatever you feel relevant. Does that seem okay? To you, Martin, Tatiana?
Yeah.
All right. So first, I was really intrigued and really happy that you already last year thought about asking people about AI. But I was wondering in your questions, did you ask them? Did you have like one question? What are you asking the AI? Do they really use the AI for its AI components? Because I saw that from my experience, a lot of teens just use AI as Google. You know, if you ask your AI, okay, what's the capital of this country, or what is 3 times 5, then you're using AI, but you might be using Google or a calculator. It might be doing the same thing. So I was wondering if you asked them how they were using the AI. That would be interesting. Uh, Also, on the first part of the survey, I was really intrigued at your results on the social media. You said 25% of the people, 23, I think, still use Facebook. That is still to me a lot, huh? Because I thought that there is no one on Facebook anymore under 30 years old. So I'm quite impressed, and I was wondering, do you know if it's because their parents have them on Facebook, or maybe they mixed up Facebook and Messenger in the answer, or something? And on the opposite, regarding Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, you said 75%, almost or around 75% of the people use them. Uh, to me, that's not a lot. Huh? I thought it would be like 90 or 95%. Or maybe it is because some of them only have Snapchat or Instagram and not the three applications or the three apps. So I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about that. And then maybe for the second part of the presentation for Martin, well, both of you can answer. But for the second part of the presentation, uh, you said, Martin, that they see that the news that's coming to them, the news information that comes to them. But I was wondering if you ask them to define maybe in one question what news is. Is it something that comes from like hard news, like newspapers and stuff, or does it come from influencers, or does it come from friends? Because you can get news in many different forms on Instagram. So I was wondering if you had anything regarding that. And then I have a lot more questions, but I will just stick to one more that you started talking about, Martin, but at the end of the presentation, it's the comparison between the 2020 survey and the 2024 survey. Do you see any evolution, any differences? I think Tatiana already mentioned the BeReal app that wasn't used before because it's new. Or did you see an evolution on TikTok? I think I remember for generation 2020, it was the beginning of TikTok, so there was already some use, but no, it's enough. So do you see any evolution, anything different, or is it mostly the same? So yeah, if you want to, this is all I have. Answer what you will, and I'm sure we will have more time to discuss it some other day. Thank you again.
Okay, there are many questions. I don't know, Tatiana, if you or
maybe I can start with the. Sorry, Victor, I don't remember everything, but I will start with the beginning with the. For example, maybe the. I think your first question was about AI, and if we ask question about really the content, so how AI works, and if I may just share my screen. Sorry, it will be in French, but you can find if you can see the survey, you can see it. It was the question. There was not that much question. I think I shared the fact that they use AI on Snapchat and ChatGPT. And here you can see like why are the reason they use the AI. So really to get answer to the question, testing, discover AI, having help for homework or inspiration, talk to a friend. It's also on Snapchat, or having create new videos. Or you can have also, I never used AI. So that was the main question, but I don't think we asked your specific question about the fact or knowing really the application.
Interesting.
maybe just a comment about your question on news. Well, in fact, it's a very complicated methodology aspect because the term of news is quite confusing, and in French it's horrible because the term information, in fact, it's really mixing absolutely everything about culture, about interest, about passion, about you said the term hard news, etc. Of course, for the young people, well, for them, the notion of news or actuality is more about what's happening or something like this, or very, very broad, in fact. And it's, I think, a really tricky point in kind of methodology of how we deal with this, because we want to have some very specific information. And when you have to use the terms of information, news, actuality, etc., it's quite mixing everything. So in this element, I think it's also a little bit the weakness of our quantitative methods. For those kind of questions, sometimes have a qualitative method, some kind of focus group on other can precise the way of that terms are understood by the person. Because when you have only questionnaire with the question, okay, what do you consider as the news? You know, it's quite complicated on it, because also on the social network, the term actuality, notification, etc., is quite confusing. So yeah, it's in my opinion, it's a real complicated bias in the methodology.
Okay. And maybe I see that there's a question from Geoffroy, but before that, maybe on the comparison with 2024, do you see differences, or is this something that maybe you decided not to do on purpose, or?
Yeah, it was a quite tricky point, because when we had our meeting, our methodology meeting, of course, we had the question and say, okay, do we make a comparison between Generation 2020, where the data was taken before the COVID period.
Yeah, 2019 now.
Yeah, 2019, as you know, and the 2024, and the real trap, I think, was to say, okay, before the COVID and just after the COVID, who was a real problem in terms of methodology, because it's complicated to say, we don't know. The only thing that we know before and after the COVID is that the schools are more integrate the EA system, and the element has teams, of course, in the school. But In fact, on actuality and news, we don't really see big difference between the two surveys. For us, it's the same logicals. But maybe Tatiana, you can also provide the comments on the other aspect.
Yes, we can see also that it's not really that difference. For example, the acquisition of the phone is the entry of the secondary, but we can see differences because we add themes to the survey. As I said, like video gaming, it was not special themes. Here we really like investigated this part because we noticed that it's really an important part for children and teenager. The well-being also, it's really a new themes now. It's really, are you frustrated when you see other people on social media and you get frustrated on this, or how do you feel about losing time on your screen, and how do you manage this? It was really interesting to discover things that we didn't expect. Maybe the fact that they find rules imposed by their parents really like a positive way. So we were really like kind of impressed. And also the cybersecurity. We didn't speak about it, and now it's really a new subject. And we discover also the fact that they are really concerned about it. They are actually having strategy for cybersecurity, and they are kind of aware of this kind of problem. So that can be really like the new things that we can find on this survey.
The new elements. All right,
Yeah.
thanks. We also have, regarding their feeling and their experience, we also have a question from Geoffroy. I don't know if you have the chance to look at it, but he said basically, do young people feel informed if they don't trust social media, don't follow legacy media because of old boring formats, as you said, Martin? How do they stay informed? His question is really about the experience of being informed and being misinformed. So, was there maybe in the survey, Martin and Tatiana, a question regarding that? You know, I like this format, I don't like this format, but then do I feel informed enough? To link that to current events, we had the 16 to 18-year-old who got to vote in the last European election, and some of them, from my own experience, said the same thing. Like, I don't feel informed enough to vote. I don't, even though there's a lot of news coming, coming to me, as you said, Martin. So yeah, if you want to expand a bit on that question um, about feeling informed.
Well, for the testimonials that I have with the young, it's also a qualitative method is it's better on it. In fact, the real element that I have from them is more about, okay, I see what I want to see, and it's more in this logical than a really informed feeling. So I agree with the idea that the young people don't get informed, but they are not especially looking for it. So it's still a kind of element, very very ambivalent on it. On the chat, I post a video that also we did with a young on the way of they get information, and well, even some of them has very precise informational practices, but I think it's not the majority as far.
All right. Well, thank you for that video. We'll make sure to go and check it out after this is over. And actually, it's already 2:03, so we've been talking for an hour. We always promise people to keep the lunch lecture within an hour so that they come back. So before I leave you guys, I would like to say, well, a big thank you to you, Martin and Tatiana. I think that was really interesting and a good exercise for the EDMO community to kind of share your results and what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. There will be a recording So the session has been recorded. There will be a recording posted online. So if you have colleagues who can be interested in that survey, um, that will be shared on the EDMO website. Also, if you want to be invited to the next lectures, so next lectures will be happening in September and then in December and then all over 2025. If you want to be invited, please, you can register to our newsletter on the EDMO website, or you can just shoot us an email and we'll make sure you get invited to our lectures or events or workshops. We're doing a lot of things. But before that, I would like to wish you all a good summer. Thank you for coming. Thank you again, Martin. Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank
And
you, Victor.
yeah, let's talk to each other soon. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye
Have a
bye.
good
Thank
summer.
you.
Have a good summer. Bye bye.